How's it? Doing good.
Good, good, good. How's your buddy with his fire burnt house? Is he going to rebuild?
Yeah, he's still looking at rebuilding. I think he's getting some contractor estimates, collecting info on that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, he's ready for the challenge. I was like, it's gonna be a million decisions, and he's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna go for it. So
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Well, yeah, keep us updated on how that goes, but that
yeah,
would
I
be a
will.
project.
Yeah, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I
Yeah.
told him to keep me in the loop because I've never done ground up, or I mean, I guess it's not technically ground up, but it's kind of similar. So
Honestly, it's worse than ground up because you actually have to go to the
yeah,
ground first because everything there is burnt, right? So you've got
right.
contamination issues, and then when you got a fire, you don't know if the stuff underground is okay. So like all the plumbing underneath, did it survive, or do you actually have to dig all that up? So it's a lot of work, but it's also rewarding when it's done. And the neighbors love it because they have a pile of rubble next door, and then eventually they'll
Yeah,
so they always get
yeah.
stoked. So awesome, man.
And
Yeah,
he's
let us
like
know.
at the beginning of the cul-de-sac, so everybody's got to pass by him.
Yeah. You know what he should do is he should put a little bucket out, a little collection bucket to say, hey neighbors, if you want me to rebuild, throw some cash.
Yeah.
Help support us. That's awesome. I love it. Well, cool. Welcome on. Dante, hey, how's it, brother?
Good, good. Hey,
Good.
I heard Corey, I heard they have restarted the REI meetup.
Yep, Monday. Oh, thanks for
Yeah.
bringing that up, by the way. So, it was kind of like it wasn't they put it together in like 3 weeks. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go, but I think they're gonna have a representative from DPP there.
Yeah, that's a good
So,
one. That's why I was like, oh, everybody I think should be there.
yeah. So if you're in Honolulu on Monday, the 7th, shucks, I should have reviewed the details, but the meetup, it's on meetup.com. I think under the REI Mastermind of Honolulu. And so the requirements, I believe, are still that you have to have done at least one deal to be in the mastermind. And I think there's like a small annual fee. It might be like $30 or something like that for the year. That's just to cover like some stuff, food and renting the place. But that's the mastermind that when I moved back to Hawaii is where I started. So I was the administrator for that group. And I've mentioned this many times before, but because I was the administrator, it put me in a position where I was the connector. Everybody had to know me. So even though I was the least experienced in the room, like it helped me grow. Before I knew it, people were offering to, do deals with me and money, private money. So, and I found, some of my mentors in that group. So I think, it's going to be a great mastermind, but the biggest lesson overall that I learned was how to be a good number two, be a good leading from the back. And that's a lesson that I've been trying to instill with everybody, because we all play a number two role at some point daily, right? Where you have to put yourself behind others, and your role now is to serve and empower instead of to, lead somebody from the front. So that was a huge moment in my career when I got to serve at that mastermind. So if you guys are free on the 7th, then I believe it's gonna be in Manoa somewhere.
The
I
library.
should have came more prepared.
No
But
library.
oh yeah, Manoa Library. So yeah, we're gonna try to keep it very professional. Like I don't want this guy to come in. You see, kind of brave coming in to speak to a room full of investors when they're a big problem and they're causing us a lot of money, right? And so, but we want to keep it respectful and ask the hard questions, but also like, yeah, keep it pretty mellow. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Right on, Dante.
Dante,
All
what
right,
projects
guys.
are you working
Well,
on right now?
why don't we just jump right in? It's another Aloha
Well,
Friday. Aloha Friday. Hope
what
you
was
guys had
that
a great
again?
week.
Kickball? Sorry.
Oh, sorry, brother. Yeah, I'll come back to you in a minute. I think Corey's transitioning to needs, leads.
Good
leads.
deeds.
Good
Anybody?
deeds, bro.
I got a need, but I'll go last.
You always get needs, brother. I get needs too. I need you to come to Vegas and keep me company. It's hot as
Oh, that's what I could talk about,
something.
man.
It's hot. So anybody got a lead that you're working on or anything that you could use? Any deal you're processing through? I mean, Roderick brought up a really good need that we could talk about in a little bit if we want to, but that's a huge topic, is how do we level up? I mean, that's a huge need. I think a lot of us are asking, how do we utilize this current season? We're kind of like at a weird little impasse, if you will, or a little purgatory, or a little quiet before the storm. And it seems like, you know, the market is weird because they're showing signs of improvement. Market activity's up, inventory's down, interest rates are still high. And then you listen to any guru, you got 4 gurus in the room and you got 4 different opinions. So it's pretty fun this season that we're in. It's historical, but I think we're asking that same question. So at some point, let's hit that question. But so we'll keep that on the docket there. Anybody else got any other logistical needs, financing needs, emotional needs? We know Corey get emotional needs. We'll hit
No,
that
no,
one.
no. I'm not good with the emotional needs. Sorry. Go to kick off for that one. Well, what was I gonna, something that we're looking for right now is because we're officially gonna plant the flag in Vegas, you know, so we're gonna get office space. Preferably we're looking for a building right now. So office building or office space, kind of in the up to maybe 4 to 5 million range. Something kind of small. But if we're gonna buy, and I'll be going up to Vegas soon. Maybe next time Kiko is up there, or maybe sooner. Actually, you're not gonna be back for a while, right? But to start crafting our like criteria in our boxes, like our buy box, our investor box, our risk mitt box, to go and attack a market, you know. So I took a break from Vegas for about a month and a half from watching the market because it just was going the other way. You know, it's just like the Vegas is, it's not going down. So, which is good news too, right? And that's the beautiful thing about positioning, is if you're positioned correctly, then it doesn't matter which way the market goes, right? Either way is opportunity. So, but if anyone knows commercial brokers or people in Vegas or someone that might need to sell, or it might have some kind of motivation, we'd love to talk to them. Even houses, because we'll probably get a house because we travel to Vegas so often. The entire team does. So that was it. Kind of just putting it out there. Anybody else?
Or do you want to give some specifics? How many square feet, location, next to a Starbucks?
It depends. I mean, we might end up just leasing, because the commercial space, even though like there's rumblings that, you know, it could see a deep correction, it may not be for a while, you know, and I don't want to wait anymore. So the way I see it for Vegas is that the housing market actually isn't turning the way I thought it was going to turn. And Ray Dalio came out with, he had like a open paper that he put out. I don't know if you guys saw it, but, and usually he's doom and gloom, right? But in this email, he's kind of taken a different tone, where he's starting to realize that the public sector, which is the government and the central banks, and the private sector, which is kind of us, average day Americans, you know, are there's been a wealth transfer, and it's been so compartmentalized that even though the central banks and the public sector is feeling it with the interest rate hikes, the private sector isn't, right? So what is the correlation between that? And there's many variables. So now, like, experts like himself are pulling data showing that, I don't know, maybe the housing market could see some softening, you know, and just slowing down, you know, as it kind of soft lands, right? So it's very interesting times to see what's going to happen. But regardless, I see Vegas as a emerging market that in about 5 to 10 years is going to be far along, so when you start to see a lot of money move into a single market like Vegas with all the sport franchises, and you don't make those type of moves to just get in and out, so there's a lot of, but you have to pay attention to the market and see who's investing, why, what's the master plan. And all signs are pointing that people are, betting on Vegas, smarter money than us, bigger money than us. So, well, I'll ride in those wakes, So, but for office space, I'm thinking for us anywhere from like, just for our team, 15 to 3,000 square feet. And preferably if we can acquire something, that'll be great. Take over the debt, or do some sort of owner financing structure. Or if it's a deep enough discount, then we can come in with financing. So, yep. Thank you guys. Let's Keiko, do you have any things to talk about the market? Because I know you've been watching it too, and we had a brief conversation, but we didn't get to dive into your thoughts on what you're seeing. We talk about that and then dive into Roderick's. What Roderick brought up is how do we level up before we hit Q4?
Yeah, in fact, let's just throw it out in the room and let's talk about what people are hearing, because everyone's listening to different stuff. And we have such smart, well-informed people who are highly networked. What are you hearing about the market from your groups, and what are you doing about it? So 2 simple questions. What are you hearing and what are you doing? I'm going to pick on Roderick first, because he was just with a bunch of
I was just going to say that
out in San Diego and Brandon Turner's group. And so I guarantee that topic came up. Just curious, Roderick, what did you hear from a few folks? Obviously, I mean, I think everybody hears every random thing out there right now, but what's your main takeaway, and what are you doing about it?
Well, it was actually a marriage retreat, so we didn't talk a ton about, deals and investing. Tons of smart guys in the room. I don't even know the net worth of that room, but it was very, very high. All amazing individuals establishing more of those personal relationships. But as far as I can tell, everything's still like green light. I mean, thank God for a little bit of slowdown in the market. I know everybody's still buying. They're all still doing tons of deals. Brandon just, he's gathering money for that 1,000 unit thing. Do you guys follow the Open Door Capital investments that they're doing?
I actually haven't. What is he doing now?
Dude, they're buying everything, bro. They're playing with big dollars now. He's networked so many people together now that he's just essentially has unlimited capital to go take down these deals. The one that's on the table right now is over 1,000 units. I think it's an RV park. I didn't look at the details because we don't really have a bunch of extra cash like that right now. But one thing I did want to throw out is I know of a business owner that's in a bit of a financial bind in Vegas. He has a house. I think he's got a ranch somewhere in Nevada as well. One of my really good friends and mentors is probably going to loan him $2 million with both those properties on the line as collateral, where he has 12 months to buy them back. If he does not pull the trigger with the guy, if you would like, I would be happy to connect you with them. I know the house is worth like 1.5 alone. Maybe you could run the office out of there for a little bit till you guys figure out what you want to do.
Dude, yeah. Especially if he needs help, like we can see what we can do. Awesome. Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, for sure. Happy to start hunting for anything. I also have a really good friend that just moved to like Gary, Indiana area. He's solid. So if we wanted to, he said the whole town's just exploding with growth. He would be somebody else to really get behind construction. He could totally run a team, if you guys want to maybe target that area.
Yeah.
Indiana. There's
Never heard of it.
There's people out there, that's for sure. Hey, Roger, can you tee up an introduction with that Vegas person? Let's just see if we can at least meet them and see if we can offer some opportunities as well.
100%. I'll shoot the text to Jerry and tell him what you guys are looking for. I will also ask if he could talk to them and get his favorite broker from that area, and maybe we can kind of go that route too, and I'll just put you guys in touch.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, we'd love to see if we can, I mean, if he's in a financial jam, there's maybe some ways we can all help out.
His payroll is $1 million a week.
Holy smokes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're
Ouchie.
selling some kind of fuel additive. And
Wow.
they had another product, and it's like a multi-level marketing type company. But yeah, they've been slowly declining ever since COVID. I mean, they're doing over 100 million a year in revenue. Like, I don't even,
Dang.
I'm not sure.
How
why
do you
that-
make that kind of money and then not have margins, you know?
Crazy.
Wow.
So now he's like liquidating stuff to just make payroll, and his company's coming down a little bit.
Yeah. He's downsizing.
He didn't have a choice. So things change quick, especially on numbers like that. Like, sounds
Yeah, I mean,
stressful.
if your sales drop even just 10% and you're kind of running paycheck to paycheck already, I mean, that's huge. And then,
Yeah.
some people, their post-COVID income drops substantially and still aren't catching up.
Yeah. And I actually have to take off in about 5 minutes. I got a contractor showing up at the house here. So if you guys have
No
anything else,
problem, bro.
yeah, spit it out
No worries,
now.
Roger.
I'll keep you guys in mind on the Vegas thing. I'll text Jerry here in just a sec.
Yeah, one way we could talk about, yeah, absolutely. Anybody else hearing anything about the market?
Who's on that I know would know? Or have
Who is it?
something.
Talking to people.
I know Karen's out in Maui. She's in tune with the market there. Let's see. Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle. She's driving though. Looks like Costco. Costco, yeah? No.
Costco.
Well, if nobody else has anything, or if you guys do, please feel free to unmute. But
We could pick on
I think-
Dante. Dante's pretty active.
oh yeah, Dante.
Dante,
What
what
are you
you, what
seeing out
you
there?
doing?
Is it
What was
competitive?
that?
right now? Is the market competitive?
On the commercial side, well, finding the good deal is right now, but I've been hearing that some people been getting in contract and they're not able to close and come up with the funds. Some of them are falling off because they can't raise the funds. So I guess some of the funding are tightening on some of the capital raising side. But we've been shifting because it's hard, everybody knows that the loans are coming due, so everyone's waiting for that. So we kind of shifted our side to, while we wait for the inventory for open up, we started looking for land to build storage units and mobile home parks. So that's
Oh, land?
yeah, just land, so because it's cheaper. That's why, because storage units, like everyone's selling their storage units, but they're selling it at like a 5% cap rate, which is ridiculous. So we might as well just build it our own. So that's why we started looking for land and building.
What market
Is it
are
hard
you looking?
to get approvals for doing storage or RV parks?
Yeah, that's why I was asking what markets it's in.
I'm not doing, that's not my side. That's why. So I can ask, but that's on the partner side. They do that. Yeah. But from what I've been seeing, they haven't been having any problems. Because
Really?
the guys that I'm partnering with, they currently like have 3 projects right now they're building. So
Where is
I
that?
guess it like North Carolina, the one that we just closed is North Carolina, and then the other one is, I believe, in Texas, and then I think so both in Texas.
Is
So
storage
they're
demand? Is there demand for storage out there in Texas?
I
Because that,
believe so. Yeah,
I'm
because
sure.
especially if you get it in the right the growing part, like the one that we're working on is in Arlington. So I guess it's in demand right now.
Right. Because you know one thing, you know what I wanted to be in is like parking lots. That's like the least maintenance thing, you know. But like, if you're in a market like Vegas, although Vegas is starting to charge for parking now, but in a market like Vegas, parking is of plenty. So it's
Yeah.
like, so what? You got a parking lot, you know, like it's not really, you know, worth anything. But now they're starting to charge. I think because they see that Vegas is growing. It's growing so fast. So, but North Carolina, I don't know anything about really that market. We've closed some loans out there, but other than that, I don't really know.
Dude, I met one of the biggest parking lot operators in Louisiana and Texas here in Vegas at the PF Chang's, just sitting having dinner. And he like overheard us talking real estate and he's like, what do you guys do? You guys look like you should be more into like fitness. I'm like, nope. We do. I was with Vic. I don't know if you guys know Vic. He's a
Oh, Victor.
Victor on our team. Huge Bell Black, massive guy. So
Oh,
but
he's
anyway,
yeah.
yeah, he was just saying in terms of parking lots and owning them and managing them, it's crazy what you know you can get for them. So it's yeah, it's definitely an interesting place. There's so many options, you know, that's the hard part is I'm no kind of to Roderick's earlier. It's like to level up, a big question to ask is how do you level up, you know, in terms of what niche? Because leveling out, meaning like getting spread out too thin, can also be really bad. So leveling up, I think, is somewhat picking a niche and diving really deep so you could go high and really excel. The question is which niche is the best, right? Because I mean, when somebody talks storage unit, I start salivating. Then they talk RV parks, and that's my passion. I'm like, yeah. And then multifamilies, of course, I love that. And then people say crazy stuff like, what was somebody was into something else the other day and it was real estate related. Oh, they buy post offices and rent it back to the government. And apparently, I mean, their leases are huge and long, and I mean, they're great tenants. And I'm like, how the frick do you go buy a post office? And why does the
Yeah,
government own
seriously.
it? You know, it's the weirdest thing, but
Would you buy the post office from the government? So you buy it from them and lease it back as a post office?
you buy it from a private owner. They're owned by private people
They're
who
owned
rent it to the
privately.
government. Yeah, it's
I have
private.
no idea.
It's privately owned. I thought the government owned post office, and maybe they own a few. But yeah, no, it kind of blew my mind
Okay,
away.
question. Can we get a government loan to buy?
A post office to rent back to them. Yeah, I think you
Yes.
can.
No.
I mean,
Yeah?
it's a regular building. I don't think they care in terms of who the end tenant is. It just happens to be the government, you know? But
Is
Now,
this
yeah,
guy
now,
in
now
Vegas?
that you're talking about it, like I'm thinking about like here in Eva Beach, the shopping center probably owns that post office land,
oh,
and
100%. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're
it's-
totally right. So sometimes like they're part of a mall, and so the mall owner owns that mall and they lease that space. We just think of post offices like the one down off PE Coy, that one under the freeway. I mean, like that one would
Yeah,
seem
that
to
weird one.
that weird one. I would think that the government would own that because who wants that piece of land? But then if you dig into it, I bet some rich private owner has that plot and they're like, no one else is going to lease this thing except a post office. And the post office
Dude,
is a
that post
great-
office causes so much traffic on that street, on that ramp going up the freeway. Like,
Yeah.
we should
Yeah.
buy it just to take it out. Let's move it.
Yeah, right?
I think the
Anyway,
whole
my
island
point,
would rejoice.
my point is that there's so many fascinating things that a big piece of real estate investing is trying to figure out the niche. I think Tay and I talked about this a while back too. It's like there's so many options and opportunities, and trying to find, you know, what resonates with your heart, what feels like you don't mind diving deep into a network of people. And that's the key thing. I don't know. Tay, what do you think? She's
Sorry, I
sitting-
got a text, so I didn't hear.
Oh no, what
I
do you
heard
think?
you mention my name. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're multitasking. That's why I thought I'd pick on you. No, we're just talking
trying to
about the
catch
market.
what I can.
What are you hearing about the market right now and kind of what you doing?
So I did hear that conversation. I feel like I've been a bit out of touch because I purposefully took a break this summer. But what I can say is for Maui, the market is still pretty strong. You mentioned Karen, they're closing on Monday on a property and they're gonna do really well on it. Even though they are closing for less than asking, they are still walking away with a really, really good chunk of money there. And they did really well. So, and also I did a hotel here on Maui and we got it for 740. We just had a meetup there last night, got it for 740. I thought that we wouldn't be able to get more than 850K for it. But by the time we were listing it, due to the competition, we ended up listing it at 895. And in 3 weeks, we are under contract. So it was just a really good feeling. So I think here on Maui, it's still competitive, but you have to price it right, basically. Karen guys went under contract in 2 weeks. And I went under contract in 3 weeks. Karen guys was a brand new, like nice flip, good size lot with room to expand. Mine was a hotel, a great house, great bones, a few new things in under 2 years, clean list. So within like less than 2 weeks of closing on it, we were able to list it. We tried moving as fast as we could on the property, and yeah. And then in less than 3 weeks, I think we were under contract. So for Maui, I think it's still strong for, I think if you price it right.
That's the key, is pricing it right. Are you finding that when you're pricing, you're trying to price it just slightly below the last comps? Or are you looking at the last comps and trying to price right where they closed at? What's pricing right to you?
I had a long conversation with my agent on that one. I told him, okay, because you guys remember I have PTSD, right? From a deal that didn't go well. So
Yeah.
I told him, this is what I don't want. I don't want someone like, first, I want to go under contract like the day we list it. That's dream. But basically, I want to go under contract fast. And I don't want a buyer to come back with all these requests. So he looked at what was out there. The properties in the area, so it's just Kihei, right, which is a really expensive area on Maui. There was nothing for under $1 million other than a burnt home and a couple of CPRs that were way smaller than our property, square footage and all that. So the burnt home was 800 something, listed at 800 something. The CPRs were, I think 500 or 600, but much smaller. So he initially, when we first walked the property in May, he said, yeah, 850 sounds correct. Like we can list it a little lower and, pray for a bidding war. But by the time we were ready to list, which was a month and a half later, early July, he pulled a report again that same day. And he was like, this is what's out there. I feel like going below $1 million, you listed below $1 million. As far as anything below $1 million, your property is the best one. It like someone could come in, put in 75K, it'll be worth 1.2, 1.3 after the repairs. It doesn't work for an investor, but it will work for a live-in flip or someone who just kind of wants to start. So that's why we went that route. By the time we got offers, we got 4 offers on Sunday. We were just about to reduce the price actually. And then all these offers came in, and then on Monday we were under contract. So to pick that price, I think it was more motivated by wanting to be under contract quickly.
Yeah.
I like that, because although we've already talked about your story, it's like that's a lesson you learned. where there's no worse feeling than putting your property on the market after months of hard work, a lot of risk, a lot of money invested into it, and then nothing, crickets. That's the worst feeling. So I've learned that lesson too. You want to make sure you don't price too aggressive and you price to the market, maybe in your strong buyer's market, seller's market, you adjust. But the fact that your agent also looked at the competition, like a lot of the agents don't do that. They just look at comps in the close area, but you got to look at what's on market. Put yourself in the shoes of a retail buyer in this market environment, right? And then make your price choice. You have to look at it from all different angles, be kind of logical and realistic about it. So great lesson.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
for
so good.
sure.
That is so good. I completely agree with you. I think that all of us who are trying to price properties right now, it's really an art. It used to be, hey, just price them above the last sold and, hope it goes even higher. It's so easy to price stuff, but now like agents need to be smart and they got to work. So one strategy that we're using now is because like you said, buyers are out there and they want to buy. People are out there with pre-approvals, they get cash, they want to buy, and they want to buy turnkey. So all of us that are flipping are still in great business because they don't have the cash now to put the down and do any rehab. So even if it's painting the kitchen or, they're just like, oh, I can't do that. I can't afford that and the down because the interest rates are so high, their buying power went down. So to take the finished product, to as nice as we can is huge. And then like you said, the pricing is so important. What we started doing is that we started pricing just under the comps, and we would put in the agent remarks the other comps to look at. So it was just right there. And that's a great strategy because the buyers on Redfin are looking and they're like, oh, look at that. They gave us 3 comps and it shows the other comp was 50 grand more, 70 grand more, 100 grand more. And all of a sudden now everybody's going, wow, this one's like a good deal because we made it obvious. And then people come in and then the bidding war comes up. And the funny part is once people have seen it, right, they're emotional, especially when it's turnkey and nice and we stage it gorgeous. Then the beautiful thing is that in their minds, they bid it up because they're like, hey, it's got 100,000 equity. So let's bid it up 100 grand, the comp supported. And so it's weird because they intuitively want a deal, but once they fall in love, they're willing to go to market on the last sold. So that's just a trick for anybody out there who's starting to list your properties is get your agent to price it just below the other comps or a little bit more. Tay, I agree with you. If you're aggressive and drop it, but the key is list out those addresses and how much lower we're underpriced. And I guarantee you're going to get activity.
Could I share something that I really value with this transaction, even though we're not closed yet? I want to share about finding a good agent. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay. So the day that we got 4 offers, I got on the phone with him, and so as an agent, so he's been an agent here on Maui for 8 years. And therefore, whether listing or buyer's agent, he has experience, and not just experience with buying or listing, but also experience with other agents in the market. And the reason that we went with the offer that we went with, even though it wasn't the strongest price, even like conditions, it wasn't the strongest, it was because he has like a lot of experience with that buyer's agent, and he knows that she is a closer. If like she doesn't just put in offers to just kind of either get under contract, like she's not one of those who, anyway, she will still do the best for her client, but anyway, her offers are just basically serious. And so when he saw the offer, before he even presented it to us, he called her, checked on the lender, checked on, the motivation of her client. And that's why he felt confident bringing it to us. And that just, for me, because that was never ever like offers were never presented that way to me before. Like, I know this agent or I know that broker, and I even know the lender, like I know that they are solid. They rarely come back on their offers, they do what's within their rights, and anyway. So I felt confident because he was confident in the agent as well. So it was like that agent relationship and experience. And it sucks maybe for brand new agents, but as far as like established agents within that market, so like they are in the market, they have experience in the market, they have experience and relationships with other agents. It was like that buyer's agent's reputation helped put that under contract for her buyers, because again, even though they weren't the strongest price wise, it's just her reputation that made us go with her offer. So for investors out there, like, you don't know what you don't know. I learned the hard way going with, and I'm not talking about Maui agents. It was out-of-state agents that I really didn't feel like they were fighting for me. Like, I really didn't. And with at least this guy, it really feels that way. He knows what I want and don't want, and he is out there doing that. Like, don't waste your time if this and that, because that's not even what she's looking for. She knows what this product is, blah, 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 blah. So he showed up at every single showing. He didn't just give out a lockbox, and he was there. He was like, I know that this is that, but with like $500, this is brand new, or things like that. Like, he was talking to every potential buyer. Also, the other thing that we did on this property is I paid for prior inspection. I paid for survey. The only thing I didn't do was termite, because they're only good for 2 weeks, and we didn't know when we were actually going to get under contract. So I did survey inspection, and I also have an appraisal. So when he had really serious offers come through and he would talk to the agents and they sounded quite serious, he would share the full inspection report and told them, this is what it is. We know how much it's going to cost to repair all these things. So present an offer with this knowledge. So we ended up getting an offer as is, which honestly, to me, I don't want another project. I don't want to basically hire a contractor to make this house brand new. Like, this is what you get. This is what you see is what you get. And I don't want a headache. I just want to get this to the closing table. That's everything I wanted to share about the importance of having a good agent.
That's
Love it.
such a great lesson. I learned that lesson multiple times, and still learning that lesson to this day. And the lesson is like,
Okay.
you gotta pay for quality people. Don't pay for the bottom of the barrel, because you're gonna get the bottom of the barrel and it's gonna cost you anyways. And then you're gonna lose years off your life. Like, you just work with the real deals. Like, it's worth it. And that guy sounds like the real deal, or he's gonna become a major player if he hasn't already, because those are the guys that they pay attention to the little things. They're professional. Like, you gotta, especially in markets like these where it's uncertain and it's very tricky, like, you gotta be better in every facet, like.
Can I want to share something. It sounds super silly, but I had an agent in Indy who wouldn't pick up, like, who wouldn't go in, and there's wind, it was winter, windy. She wouldn't go in, like, I don't know. I was like, why wouldn't you present the house nice? Show up with a blower like a half hour before, make I don't know, somewhat presentable. Like, we did have a yard person going every 2 weeks, but leaves fly, whatever. And at one point, there was like trash that flew into the yard. It wasn't even a bag full, and she wouldn't do that. I had to go find someone to go and like pre-clean the properties. And then I don't know. I was just like,
And you have to pay for
like,
that?
you cannot pick up. Yeah.
Oh, next
Like,
time
they couldn't pick
I'd
up
fire her on
trash
the spot.
around.
Like, that's
I couldn't
just
believe. I'm like, are you serious? I have to pay someone to drive by, pick up the 3-4 pieces of trash. that had flown in because it was like a windy week or something. And then so this guy, obviously like I'm so happy because he just shows up early. He shows up to every single showing, shows up early, makes it presentable. And I don't know, I was just like, oh, I sleep better at night right now because there's no extra work on my part. Anyway,
Well, yeah. And I guess when you work with that type of people, it slows you down, weighs you down. Like we just gotta trim the fat, So is that agent still working? How long has she been in business? Did she come in 2020 or 2021?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, a
So
couple of years. Yep. So
I think realtors forget that they're in a sales position. You gotta work, you don't just put it up on the MLS and then like you get offers. It's not like a couple of years ago anymore. This is like kind of a normal market now. I mean, we're definitely not in a normal market, normal environment, but it's the volume.
as far as the
is coming
listing and
back.
selling, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
sell the property. Yeah.
And-
Thank you guys.
That kind of, yeah, because that goes with what I wanted to say about Roger asking about how do you level up. Well, there's so many different ways, right? And you can focus on tangible things like strategies that fit the current market conditions, relationships, partnerships. But I think at the core of it, one of the core fundamentals is really focusing on and being intentional about growing internally with the intangible lessons. And here's why. And I'm trying to bring logic to some of these like almost philosophical like ideas where it's kind of sometimes hard to bring tangible or semi-tangible so people can understand and get the lesson. But it comes down to, I feel, knowing the intangible lessons, because like the people, if you focus on learning those and becoming more resilient and learning the lessons of perseverance, hard work, dedication, discipline, consideration, all of those qualities, then you can do anything. You can sell houses, you can, go be the best artist or whatever. If you've done the work inside first, so people look outside to level up when really all you have to do is trap yourself in a quiet room and think, I would let myself daydream. Just what do I daydream about? What am I thinking about when I'm running on autopilot in my subconscious? You can find out a lot there. Sometimes it's not pretty, but you can find out about yourself. Like audit your dreams and let yourself daydream freely, and then go back and why did I dream that? Why did I visualize myself looking like this? And pull the reasons from that. So that's just one thing I think that we can all level up on. It doesn't have to be out. You don't have to rely on partners or partnerships or money or deals. Like you first, I would say, look at yourself. Like, let's find out more. Let's learn more about ourselves. Like, how much courage do I actually have? Like how much trust do I actually have? And what are my insecurities? And let yourself daydream and think about whatever, but go back and review those. Maybe it'll tell you something. Maybe it'll give you a lesson, Okay, Cole, what about you?
Yeah, no, all of this is so good. I've got so many things to talk about, but I feel like I'm talking too much. But
You're good, bro.
no, there's so much good stuff here. Anybody else want to chime in? I can chime in a minute. I mean, so much good stuff from what Tay was sharing, what you just shared. I want to go back to Tay's for just a minute. If anybody's looking for agents, or if you're a brand new agent, Tay was basically suggesting that, you got to find an agent who's been around for a while, knows the market, knows, others in the network. I mean, that's so good. But then what happens if you've got somebody that you really like and they're brand new and you're like, man, this sucks because I don't want to use you because you don't know everybody. You just got in the market, you just got licensed. One of the things that I suggest sometimes is I tell people if you have a new agent, is to find a way to partner them with an experienced agent and have them split the commission. And so then you get the best of both worlds. So that's a real simple thing. So for anybody who's a brand new agent on here, or you're thinking about getting your license, and then you just heard Tay said, well, you got to be experienced. Well, shucks, I'm not going to be experienced. Don't be discouraged. Instead, find a really good experienced agent in the market, in the field that you want to be in, and then partner up. Give away 90% of your commission just for the ability to stand next to them and watch them go and sweep freaking leaves off of a sidewalk, show up at every open house, because then that becomes your character and you learn the recipe.
Yes.
So I'd say don't be discouraged. So any new agent who wants to level up, so this is kind of the level up for you from this call, is level up by finding good mentorship. Because I'm with Tay, like when we go into markets and I'm trying to build a team, I don't necessarily want a new person. I want somebody who's got a network, knows what they're doing. But sometimes the people who know what they're doing can also be really hard to work with. So you got to balance that. So just because they are saying, oh, I've been on, forever, and, I do things a certain way, and, but then they end up bossing you around and telling you exactly what you got to do. And you're like, wait, I own the property. Stop telling me what to do, So there's a balance. So to level up on that. And then for every experienced agent that's on here, I know we got quite a few agents too. Find somebody young to mentor, and give them a chance to get to know, because that's how we build the community, and that's how we build good people, is we got to be investing in the next one. So that's my.
You'd
thing
be
there.
surprised how much you learn from teaching or sharing your information.
So much. Yeah,
Yeah.
the best way to learn is to teach, honestly.
Yep.
It's so important.
Well,
Yeah.
Did anybody else have anything? There's so much, that's why sometimes it's like, how do you level up? And there's so many ways, and I think that's why I gravitated towards that answer, is because there's so many ways. Like, what do you choose, right? It's like, well, you could choose any of them. It's like, well, not everyone can choose any of them, because some of them are harder than others, right? And like, maybe they're not built for that, or they don't want that life, and then I started going down to, okay, well, then it always leads to, like, who are you? Like, what's the greatness inside of you? And have you found that yet? Are you even aware that you need to do the work to find that greatness inside of you? Most people don't. Probably a lot of us on this call haven't thought that way, that, we just look outwards for the information and the knowledge, the tangible knowledge. And that's like, that you'll get somewhere, but the real levels of success are held when you find out your purpose, what you're great at, what you're not great at. And then everything comes a little clearer. You can make decisions easier. You start building a framework around who you are, so that you know how to behave and you know the decisions to make when it's presented to you, and you don't just panic and freeze and paralyze or pass on it because you just don't know you don't know who you are. So you don't know if you can handle that opportunity or not. Right. So I think the first thing to level up is, like, you got to figure out what you have inside first. Where's your skills? Where's your shortcomings? Get honest with yourself. Sometimes that's hard. A lot of people, they're either not aware, or they don't have the courage, or they're lazy to take some quiet time, and reflect and find out exactly where you want to go, who you are. And because then otherwise, yeah, there's a zillion strategies, there's a zillion partnerships, opportunities, but you may not be successful. Even, you wonder why. Like, I think all of us have been there in our careers where we're doing everything we're supposed to do, and it's hard, it's frustrating, you're going nowhere, getting no traction. And then you see people to your left and right who maybe they started after you and they're so much farther ahead. It seems it comes easy to them, right? Why is that? I bet you if you dug deep enough, it all stems down to something that they already have inside of them that maybe they're aware of, or maybe they're still not aware of it, but there's qualities in there, intangibles, for the reason why they're getting traction and you're not, right? We just got to face the truth sometimes, be honest, and take the true words. It's going to sting, but that's how we grow, right? So that's my thoughts. Is like, I was trying to think, okay, Roger asked, great question. But there's so many different answers to that, and we can go in so many different directions. But I think the most important answer, which is probably may not be the most sexiest, is yeah, you got to figure out where's the greatness inside of us individually before we start looking for how to level up with opportunity in the tangible world. Does that make sense? I have no idea if this is being received well.
No, I like it. I like it. It's good. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think part of it is what I think if I hear you correctly, you're talking a little bit about legacy too, right? You want to leave a legacy that aligns with what is deep down in your heart, a passion. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, that amongst many other things, it's just, I guess I can sum it up by saying this. If you know your principles, your values, how you make decisions, what motivates you, what demotivates you, what brings you energy and what takes your energy. If you're very clear on that, which basically means you know who you are as an entrepreneur, as a person, then life gets easier. It's easier to make decisions. You can make decisions quicker because you don't have to sit and you have guardrails. You have a buy box. It's like your own more about themselves, that they go around, they just go through life and life just happens to them. They're at the mercy of it instead of taking control and building your rails, having standards, principles. Because if you don't, then you might be put in a position, especially in business, where you have to make a decision and you might choose the unethical decision, or it might not align with your morals because you don't know your morals yet. You're not very clear on them, right? So you have no direction. You're walking through life reckless. So to level up, I think you need to know who you are. You need to know, why are we in business? What do I daydream about? Audit that, figure all that, do a SWOT analysis on yourself. We do it on our businesses, but why not do it on us or yourself personally? And go through all, each one, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's my rant of the day.
I love it. It makes sense
All right.
to me.
Oh, I get 3 minutes to go.
You can't top that, bro.
Yeah. Well, if anybody has any final words, otherwise we can wrap and go enjoy the weekend. Anything else, guys? Self-analysis. Yes, that's what, Paulina. Thank you. I'm still learning this, guys. Like I told you, as I learn lessons, I pass it along. Reading the Daily Stoic. Boop. It's not focusing. Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday, and Marcus Aurelius is Meditations. So it's fascinating, and that's really what philosophy is. Like, gotta dig a little deeper. And reading this, I'm starting to realize, I think that's the type of mind I have, because I don't stop. My brain just keeps going. Like me in a quiet room is like, it can be exhausting. That's why I gotta be around, my brothers all the time. Right, D?
Awesome, Corey. That's awesome, Corey.
Okay, what's up, guys? Thanks, Kurt.
I can share something real quick that probably shine a light on everybody.
Yes.
You ready? You don't need cheerleaders, you need coaches. I hope that you guys understand that. You don't need people that's going to cheer you on, you need coaches. So find out that you can find someone that can mentor you and coach you. We all need to learn new things that are out there. And people on the side like, go Corey, go, that's great. But you know what? You need coaches. So find out who your mentor is, and also remember, give back. If someone like Kiko was talking about new people, new agents, give back, because you were there at one time. And that's how because you have to remember, in this day and age, everybody's well connected to somebody. And you just because they're new, they could have someone they know that could have a lot of money here and there, and you just never know. Also, on the escrow title side, I know you guys do a lot of deals. Be wary of notaries. If you guys signing with somebody, make sure they are a real notary, because that could cause a lot of problems. So we had to stop a transaction because a notary had to verify, and the person wouldn't verify his address and his ID. So that's just on the escrow title side. But thanks, guys. Have a great weekend.
Well, that's crazy. Thank you, Kurt. Thanks for the heads up too.
Hey, I
Alright,
wanted to give
guys.
a shameless plug. I'm Derek Jones. I just sent my Castle and Cook information on the practical side. We have a HELOC, I mean, for you guys that are especially investors or just need money. It's minimal qualifying. It is the easiest HELOC I've ever seen. And you can even use the spouse's income. I'm not speaking on the practical because we're talking about, making things happen. You can use the spouse's income. It doesn't require great FICOs, and you can go, up to 80% LTV. It's just amazing, or 90% LTV. Really, really good product. So if you guys need it in a pinch, just give me a call. That was my shameless plug. I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Derek. That's great. Yeah.
Right.
HELOCs are a great tool. That's why for us. So thank you.
Good.
Well, why don't we you already did. Perfect. So Derek left his info in the chat, guys. We'll leave it up for a few seconds. But other than that, have a great weekend. Have a happy Aloha Friday, and we'll see you guys next week. Aloha, everybody.
Oh.
Thank you, Tammy. Thanks, Tay. Thank you,
Good
guys.
one.
Bye, thank
Aloha.
you.
Thank you.
Everyone.